There's levels to this game, and if you want to succeed as a commercial real estate investor, understanding what each of these levels entails will help you go from beginner to mastery. So today I am breaking down the 6 critical stages every successful commercial real estate investor goes through, from that curious newbie to wanting to get your toes wet to actually buying that first deal, all the way up to the legacy builder. Now, wherever you are right now, there's always a next level. I'm going to show you what each stage entails and how you can go from whatever level you're on to the next level you want to get to, and ultimately end up at mastery and unlocking all the benefits that commercial real estate investors strive for by getting into the industry. Let's dive in. What's up, Wise Investor fam? After doing millions in commercial real estate deals myself and coaching and working alongside hundreds of other commercial real estate investors all around the country, I have seen firsthand the difference between those who stay stuck or never get started or really just hit a ceiling and never break through, and those who build real wealth, who unlock financial freedom, the impact, the income that they're looking for, not only for themselves, but for generations to come. So stick with me to the end, because I'm going to share how you can fast track your journey without wasting years making mistakes that most beginners make. And here is what we are going to cover today. We're going to be diving into a very simple presentation that goes over the 6 levels of a successful commercial real estate investor's journey. And those are none other than starting out as the newbie, the beginner, right? That curious person that's like, I think commercial real estate is an industry, it's an investment that I want to pursue. Going from the curious beginner to going, I'm going to get my first deal closed, and actually getting in the game and getting it across the finish line. As you do that, looking at how you can start to scale and grow your team, your cash flow, your net worth, your brand, the growing operator, moving up to the strategic portfolio builder. How do you build a moat around your wealth, your income, your business, and start to think about maybe diversification a little bit? And then if you decide you ever want to get up to that institutional level where you're playing with the Wall Street types of funds and private equity groups and family offices, what that level looks like, and ultimately where all of us desire to be at the end of our journey, which is the legacy builder, something that you've not only been able to create and enjoy, but something that you can leave for future generations and impact your family tree for the future. So let's go ahead and dive into the curious beginner. This is the person that is just looking to have the understanding and the confidence to maybe take that first and next step into the batter's box. This is getting the foundation poured. It's understanding commercial real estate asset classes, right? That foundational knowledge around the asset types, the different strategies that are out there, the basic terminology that you may want to learn and understand just to be able to have a general conversation with brokers or owners or tenants without sounding like you don't know what you're talking about, right? Learning how to underwrite and analyze kind of back of the napkin math. Not saying you need to be a master at analyzing deals and getting into spreadsheets, but at least understanding the high level mechanics of how to know what a good deal is or what a bad deal is, or what kind of returns the deal has and whether or not they align with your goals. Reading and analyzing a simple lease. Leases are imperative to understand in order to ensure that you have the income secured by those tenants tied to your property, which the income ties into your value. And it all starts with a lease, right? So just basic understanding and knowledge of leasing, starting to network and have conversations with brokers, with lenders, with investors, people that you know you're going to need to have on your team and to build relationships with going forward as you get into the industry and the space. Also, just having that basic foundational level of financial literacy, right? In understanding how your credit, how debt, how equity, how budgeting and project management kind of all tie into what you're going to be doing going forward and how it ties into your actual personal financial goals. And then, of course, just continuing to pour out and become a little bit more well-rounded in your foundation of basic market research skills, right? If you're going to invest in a certain area, certain market, understanding what demographics, what data, what things do you need to be paying attention to that tell you, hey, this is a good place to park my money, a good market to invest in, or maybe not, right? So this is just the very beginning stage. It's pulling up to, seat to the table, kind of like the first time maybe you ever played the game of Monopoly. You're like, I think I know about it. I'm curious to learn how to play this game. But it wasn't until you really got a few reps, a few games in that you started to feel comfortable. Okay, I understand, maybe what properties I want to buy or what strategy I may want to employ here. I understand what maybe not to do at a high level, what to do at a high level, who I should be playing with or thinking about that I'm playing against. And it's that initial, understanding that you can pull up a seat to the table and take those next steps, which ultimately is going to lead us to level 2. Which is the first time buyer. You're going to get that first commercial real estate asset across the finish line. And in order to do so, right, you're going to need to just get in the game and get some reps. You're not going to know everything that you feel like you need to know to be able to take that first leap and buy your first deal. I didn't know everything when I bought my first shopping center, but what I can say is I learned a lot just by being in it. Right? And that's how through repetition we get more confidence, things start to slow down. I'm not going to do that again. That worked really great. Let's keep doing that. This is ultimately what you're going to start to think about when you are on level 2, getting that first deal across the finish line. And that's going to require you to be able to consistently source deals and analyze and evaluate deals and understand what aligns with your goals and what doesn't, how to use spreadsheets and calculators. And when I do this in the calculator, it spits this out, and start correlating those connection points, building more confidence in your analysis. And based on how you analyze deals and understanding what your goals are, you can begin to negotiate a little bit more strategically when you're trying to put these deals together, how you are going to secure financing for these deals, putting your capital stack together of your equity and your down payment capital versus your debt, and who your lender and the financing structures are going to be, and whether that is an SBA loan, a local or regional community bank, whether it's private money, hard money, creative financing that you're going to structure with the seller. There's all different kinds of ways that you're going to understand you can apply these strategies when it comes to financing for getting your first and or your next commercial real estate deal across the finish line. Understanding what goes into the due diligence process and how do you manage this process proactively to protect your investment and have the confidence you need to close the deal and move forward, and or to save yourself from buying a bad deal. Reading and negotiating leases and contracts. The devil is in the details when it comes to commercial real estate. So understanding the importance of reading every line in the contracts and the leases. This will be important as you master and learn this skill going forward. Setting up the right LLCs, the bank accounts, right? The basic legal structures that you're going to want to learn more about and master as you begin to not only close your first deal, but grow your portfolio going forward. And just understanding once you close on it, right? How do I operate the property and navigate the relationship between my property manager and my tenants? And getting in the game on this first deal is going to teach you so much. And knowing that you've got good people around you, maybe mentors, maybe you're part of a mastermind group, the second, third, fourth set of eyes, people looking over your shoulder, helping you on that first deal is extremely important. Because if you win on that first one, your likelihood of winning on the second and the third goes way up. You lose on that first one, most people never come back to real estate investing, and that's what we want to avoid here. You do these things, you build these skills, you're going to be well on your way to level 3, which is the growing operator. Now you've got some confidence, maybe you've got, some relationships built, some capital saved up, you've taken a deal, maybe full cycle. And this is where we're going to start to look at, building up off of the foundation that first successful deal created for you. So you're going to be thinking about, right, how do I build repeatable, systems and processes that allow me to do deal analysis, at a high level and do it frequently at scale, right? Looking at more and more deals, you're going to need to build out some systems and some processes that allow you to scale. Having a good team that you can lean on and build relationships with and leverage them, being that we all only have 24 hours in a day, right? You want to feel confident that you have the ability to continue to grow your portfolio without you having to do everything by yourself. Having property management tools and software to keep your properties, your tenants, your cash flow, your repairs and maintenance all organized. These are things that you're going to be thinking about bringing into your business model on level 3. Optimizing your rent rolls and your lease strategies. How can I get better at not just improving the property through value add renovations and capital expenditures to make it look nicer, but what are some of the strategies and ways through my rents and my tenants and the way I structure my leases? This is where you're going to start to become a little bit more dangerous and learn at this level. It's not about just physical optimization of your assets, but it can be around rehabbing paper and leases and agreements that can drive more revenue and drive more value to your properties. Thinking about how you're going to continue to raise more capital to bring in and pool more funds to maybe do bigger deals or to grow your portfolio in a way that aligns with the timeline that you're looking for. Having the right capital relationships or doing joint ventures or partnerships is something that you'll want to start learning and mastering on level 3. Of course, reporting, property performance, key performance indicators, these are all things that are just going to help you have more data to drive the right decisions that align with your goals, that protect your investments and align with what you're actually looking to achieve. And the more reporting, the more data that you can lean on, the savvier and safer your investment decisions going forward are going to be. And of course, just understanding that, again, we're in a relationship-based business, right? How do you continue to improve your tenant relationships? How do you retain these tenants, knowing that the income these tenants bring to your building are not only for cash flow purposes, but based on the cap rate tied to that income? How does that tie into the value? Retaining your tenants is absolutely critical. And as you start to grow and scale your portfolio, you get more wins under your belt. This is where it really starts to get fun and you can start playing the game of real life Monopoly with your commercial real estate portfolio. And this is what's going to lead you into level 4, which is probably maybe a decade into your career as a commercial real estate investor. And again, these are all just kind of rules of thumb, give or take, maybe a little bit less time for some people, a little bit more time for some people. It all depends on where you're starting at, where you're going, and what kind of resources you have to get you there. This level is all about scaling with intention and maximizing your returns. So you're going to think about, right, top grading your portfolio. Right now, I just sold one of my shopping centers because it was maximized in terms of cash flow and value. I sold it. I'm in a 1031 exchange right now to exchange all of that equity I created and forced into the asset to roll that into another deal, right? And maybe top grade into a bigger asset, maybe bigger returns. So thinking about how 1031 exchanges and tax strategies can tie into your portfolio and your investment and wealth goals. Thinking about creative finance. I'm closing on a mobile home park right now that is 100% financed, and I'm barely bringing any cash to the table. But again, that was years and now decades of being in and out of deals and understanding creative finance and different ways that we can put this puzzle together to make it a win-win for everybody. These are some of the things that you can learn and master along the way, but also will come in very handy as you're starting to strategically play the game of Monopoly with your real life portfolio. Managing multiple properties across multiple markets, right? I've got multiple assets now in multiple states. That was a gradual process of comfort and team building and expertise that gave me permission to go and do that. Analyzing how do you mitigate the risk that's tied to your portfolio and your investments, how you diversify maybe into different asset classes, different strategies tied to those asset classes. Overseeing investor relations as you raise more money and you do more deals. If you're not self-funding everything, you got to make sure that you are being a good steward and fiduciary of other people's capital, that they are trusting to you to grow, and make sure that you are giving them not only a good experience through proper communication, but you're doing great returns and giving them overall experience that has them coming back and wanting to reinvest with you. setting up detailed financial reporting and forecasting. We talked a little bit more about that on the last level. Building out SOPs, internal systems. Again, as you grow your business, your portfolio, every time you double or triple in scale or size, things are going to break, right? So you got to consistently look at auditing and optimizing and tweaking and testing all of those SOPs, all those KPIs, what's important, what's not, and how you continue to improve your models and your processes going forward based on where you're at. And hiring and managing an internal team or third-party partners, right? Some people have outside vendors, partners, relationships. Some people want to bring those in-house. Some people want to do a hybrid of that. This is something that you want to be thinking about in your real estate investing model as you go on your own journey. Now, level 5 is a little bit more for the individual who really wants to build a business that is focused on this full-time, 24/7, 365. And this is not just some side hustle. This is not a hobby or an investment vehicle that they're using, as a small sliver of their portfolio. This is their full-time focus. And this is an institutional grade level investor, right? This is somebody who's got a fund or is consistently syndicating deals. You've got people that are having to manage large investor groups, equity partners, family offices, REITs. They are looking to acquire large scale assets. You're no longer a mom and pop investor, right? You're somebody who's trying to play on a high level at a national scale with lots of commas and zeros, which is great. And not many people make it to this level, and also not many people want to play at this level. So just know that this level is here, but it is not a requirement to become a successful real estate investor in commercial and to unlock what it is that you desire. Next, we've got building broker networks across multiple regions, overseeing development, repositioning, redevelopment projects. These are big projects with big dollar signs and checks behind them. Again, this is an institutional level, Wall Street level type of model. Leveraging advanced tax strategies and planning strategies. Again, you can do this on every level, but the individuals at this level understand just about every loophole that they can be taking advantage of, and this will be a skill that you'll want to master and build. And of course, creating recognizable personal or company commercial real estate brand, IP, that you are identifiable, and you can do this on every level, right? So thinking about level 5 and ultimately where most people want to get to, this is more so of time on task that leads you to the legacy builder, right? 60s, 70s, 80s, 90 years old, you get to a place where you're going, you know what? This is great. The money is awesome. I built a lot of wealth. I've had a great life. To me, I'm at a place now where I really want to start thinking about this wealth transfer. And this is something that family offices do, where they start to think about, their philanthropy and the impact they're going to make in the communities, right? How am I going to, mentor and train others and help them have an impact in their lives, their communities through the wisdom, the experience that I've learned and gained? How do I continue to put my money and wealth behind, causes and charities and missions that are important to me, and leverage all of the fruits of your labor into things that are impactful for when you're not here anymore, right? Building educational platforms or masterminds or investment communities, focusing on reputation, long-term legacy, and storytelling, leading with vision and purpose, not just profits, and cultivating a family or organizational mission around wealth and impact. Here's what I would say. Everybody should desire to get here, but most importantly, you should be building a lot of these things and thinking about how to incorporate these things at every level, right? Because when you really start thinking about impact, about legacy, around things that are above and beyond just serving you and our own selfish goals, don't get me wrong, right? I got into real estate not to create an impact and build wealth and to build a legacy. I did it because I wanted to build a financial security and to unlock the freedom, right? But once you start getting beyond those stages, you really start to realize that wealth goes far beyond dollars and the commas and zeros that you have in your bank account, right? And so thinking about how you can incorporate that at every level, I think is something that is very important. But overall, now that you have seen the 6 levels, I'm curious, where are you at today? Drop it in the comments. Are you level 1, a level 4, a level 6? I think no matter where you are, the important thing is that you keep leveling up with intention. I always say I'm a student of life. I'm always looking for my next teacher. And honestly, at every single one of these levels that I just went over, I'm still learning and growing and going, man, I gotta focus on that a little bit, right? But just knowing that you've got a long time horizon to execute and work towards mastery, and being clear on what is required in each of these levels to get the outcome you desire will help you be more intentional about where you continue to level up and push and lean into. So if you found this helpful, give it a thumbs up. It really helps more future commercial real estate legends and wise investors like yourself find this channel. And if you want to go deeper into commercial real estate investing, you want to build cash flow, you want to build wealth, consider subscribing to the channel, or better yet, we've got more step-by-step content, tools, real-world breakdowns coming every single week on the channel and also at the Wise Investor Collective. So just remember, commercial real estate investing isn't just about buildings and property. It's about building the life that you desire by design, that you control. And if you want more hands-on coaching or a community, a mastermind group of like-minded investors to support you on your commercial real estate journey, don't forget to check out the Wise Investor Collective, the courses, the mastermind, the events that we put on, and all the great resources we have available at the links down below. Until next video, happy investing.